stole his girlfriend and had all the money in the world to keep her happy. Meanwhile, Tom took out a 112% loan, he sold an arm, and he sold a leg just to buy his girl a diamond ring. When Tom got her the diamond ring, she was not impressed at all. She then showed Tom Butch's huge diamond ring. After losing his dream girl to Butch Cat, we can now see Tom is starting to get drunk on milk. When everything fails for Tom, we can now see Tom and Jerry both on the railroad tracks, waiting for the train to arrive.
I'm gonna ruin your childhood. Have you ever wondered why Charlie Brown has little to no hair? Or why his life seems like such a disaster sometimes? Well, it's because Charlie Brown is suffering from cancer. Charlie Brown lays in his hospital bed dreaming up his experiences, which means every single episode is just one of Charlie's dreams. Sorry, guys.
These are 4 facts that'll ruin your childhood. Number 1, despite it being his most popular success, Will Ferrell hated his role as Elf and refuses to go back to watch the movie. Number 2, Ashley Tisdale and Lucas Grabeel hated each other so much in the set of High School Musical, they refused to be in the same room together when cameras stopped rolling. Number 3, when your dad used to tell you he was going back to the office because he forgot his reading glasses, he was really going to your friend Jacob's mom's house to kiss him in the mouth, which is probably why you and Jacob don't talk anymore. Number 4, Lord of the Rings was mostly filmed on green screen.
I'm gonna ruin your childhood memories, part 6. Do you remember Pocahontas from the Disney movies? Well, she was a real person, and she was only 11 years old. Since she was able to speak English, she was used as a translator between the Native Americans and the Englishmen. However, a man named Captain Samuel Argyle tricked her into coming onto a ship and kidnapped her as his prisoner. She was then forced to marry John Rolfe at the age of 12 and changed her name to Rebecca Rolfe. Her new husband then took her to London to show off his new Indian bride. Unfortunately, on the trip back to London, she got smallpox. Instead of heroically saving her tribe like in the movie, she just passed away from smallpox at the age of 20.
You made me fake. I can't. Besides, I'm terrible at faking. Kelly is terrible at faking. I can always tell when she lies to me. Stop. I just don't want anything fake about our band.
I'm gonna ruin your childhood, part 63. So in one episode of Phineas and Ferb, Dr. Doofenshmirtz actually goes on a date with Phineas and Ferb's mom. Here they are on their date. But what does this mean for Phineas and Ferb, you might think? Well, Dr. Doofenshmirtz is the biological father of Phineas and Candace. Check this out. Both Phineas and Dr. Doofenshmirtz have triangular heads, and they're both very smart and love inventing things. And Dr. Doofenshmirtz and Candace both have very long necks. Sorry, bro, but your girl played you. Pretty cool.
Part 9. The original Little Mermaid was a lot darker than the Disney version. In this version, Ariel actually traded her tongue, not her voice, for a pair of legs. The deal is that if Ariel finds true love, she gets to stay a human, but if she fails, then she dies. Ariel did end up saving the prince from an ocean storm, but he never got to see her face. Since he never saw the real Ariel, he accidentally married the wrong woman and then abandoned Ariel forever. Because of this, Ariel then drowns in the ocean, never to be seen again.
I'm gonna ruin your childhood. Have you ever wondered why you've never seen Andy's father in the movie Toy Story? Or why the majority of his toys are male? Well, it's because Andy's father died in a tragic car accident when Andy was younger, which is also why he spends so much time with his male toys. He's looking for a father figure.
What if I told you that all of the Rugrats were actually dead? That's right, they were all made up in Angelica's head. Angelica suffers from schizophrenia. What really happened was Chucky and his mom died during childbirth, which would explain why Chaz is a nervous wreck all the time. Tommy was a stillborn, so Stu stays in the basement making toys for the son that he never had. The DeVilles had an abortion, which confused Angelica, and she couldn't figure out the gender of the baby, so she created twins. You may be thinking that Angelica had a friend that could also see them, but Susie's always been such a good friend to Angelica and play along with her disillusions.
I'm gonna ruin your childhood. Have you ever wondered why Timmy is so sad all the time? Well, it's because Timmy has severe depression. Cosmo and Wanda symbolize the 2 antidepressants he takes, which means Cosmo and Wanda are just a figment of Timmy's imagination. Timmy came up with the fairies to help him cope with his severe depression. Sorry, guys.
I'm gonna ruin your childhood memories, part 4. Did Did you ever play Ring Around the Rosie as a kid? Well, that game isn't so fun and innocent. Ring Around the Rosie was actually based off the plague. Pocket full of posies referred to roses in your pocket, which would hide the smell of decomposing bodies. Ashes referred to the cremated bodies, whose ashes were spread. And then we all fall down, and death to everyone who got the plague.
I'm gonna make your childhood even better. Part 4. Believe it or not, Tom and Jerry are actually best friends. But Tom has to pretend to hate Jerry to protect him. Because if Tom's owner figured out that they're friends, he will be replaced by a cat that would actually want to kill Jerry. Pretty cool.
I'm gonna ruin your childhood memories. Part 11. Who else loved eating Jell-O as a kid? Do you know what it's really made of, though? Apart from sugar, the ingredient gelatin is actually extracted from the skin and bones of animals. This happens by boiling animal bones to form the sticky gelatinous substance. This is what gives Jell-O its stretchy and sticky texture, which allows it to hold itself together. Just remember, next time you're eating Jell-O, you're eating boiled animals mixed with sugar. I'm gonna ruin your childhood memories. Part 8. As some of you guys might know, mood rings don't reflect your mood, but rather show you the temperature of your skin. What's worse is the chemical in mood rings is actually toxic. When exposed to either extremely hot or cold temperatures, this might cause the mood ring to leak onto your skin. Due to this, many children have been hospitalized due to a ring they thought could change their mood. Did you ever wonder why Caillou is bald? Well, apparently, Caillou is actually a toddler with cancer. The reason his parents spoil him so much and allow him to go on so many adventures is because they want him to have happy memories.
This actor went way too far. Part 2. Let's talk about Leonardo DiCaprio. For the filming of the movie The Revenant, he actually lived in the frozen outdoors for the whole filming of the movie. He would actually sleep in animal carcasses to try to stay warm. And Leonardo DiCaprio, who is a diehard vegetarian, actually ate raw bison liver and raw fish during the filming of this movie. And for filming, he would have to go for regular swims in frozen rivers. And during filming, he was enduring freezing cold and possible hypothermia consistently, which actually led him to getting the flu many times during filming.
After the passing of Carl's wife in the movie Up, Carl died from a broken heart, which is why he always has flashbacks of his wife. And Russell is his guardian angel, trying to help him cross into heaven. But what if Carl isn't just any guardian angel? What if he's Carl and Ellie's miscarried kid? Russell wasn't trying to earn a badge that day, he was trying to earn his wings. I'm sorry, guys.
I'm gonna ruin your childhood, part 72. In the movie The Lion King, the song I Can't Wait to Be King is literally Simba saying, I can't wait for my dad to die. What the heck, Simba? Since Ariel was a mermaid her entire life up until she got legs, she must have crapped herself at least once on her first day as a human. I can't get that image out of my head now. Cinderella must have some really messed up feet if her slipper did not fit anyone else in town. Pretty cool.
Listen, I'm about to unlock some childhood memories you forgot about. If I get at least one right, you gotta drop a follow. DJ, roll the clip, bruh.
My name is Colin, and I'm 9 years old. This is the story of the time I cartwheeled across the country.
Today.
Whatever you do, don't freak out. Mother Gothel from Tangled is the evil queen from Snow White. So at the end of Snow White, the evil queen falls off the cliff, right? But we never actually see her die. What actually happened is that she found the flower from Tangled. that would make her young and beautiful again. Remember, both of them were obsessed with being young and beautiful. On top of that, they both actually have the same dagger. This is the Evil Queen's dagger, and here's Mother Gothel with hers. Coincidence? I think not. They also look very alike in their older state. Now, I know you're probably thinking, what about the apple? It's only in Snow White, right? Wrong. In this scene in Tangled, when Flynn is stabbed by Mother Gothel, look at the print made on the wall. It's literally an apple. Yuck.
I'm 10 right now. I just found out.
I'm gonna ruin your childhood part 14.
I'm gonna ruin iCarly and Drake and Josh for you forever. Crazy Steve from Drake and Josh is actually Spencer Shay from iCarly. Crazy Steve actually killed Drake and Josh. Then he kidnapped Megan, moved to Seattle, like they live in iCarly, and he forced her to act normal, but she started the web show iCarly to try to alert the police.
Part 12 of cartoon character transformations that will absolutely ruin your childhood. Today we have got this alien fighting legend, Ben 10. If there's anyone out there that ever watched this program and didn't want to own that watch, you're a liar. But I'm sorry to say, the Ben 10 we once knew is not the Ben 10 that's around now. Who is this? Who the hell is this imposter?
Cartoon
I'm
Kid.
sorry, but as Joe from Super Nanny would say, this
See,
is
that's
completely
cartoon.
unacceptable. Unacceptable. He does not deserve the title of Ben 10. He will now and forever be known as Ben minus 10. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Ben.
I'm gonna ruin your childhood. In the show Blue's Clues, have you ever wondered why Steve talks to random objects all the time? Well, it's because Steve is a drug addict and is losing his grip on the real world. The child voices he hears in the background are actually people trying to help him get back to reality. Steve left the show so he could go to rehab. I'm sorry, guys.
I'm gonna ruin your childhood memories, part 5. The original Cinderella story is much darker than the Disney story. To fit into Cinderella's lost slippers, her stepsisters cut off their toes in order to fool the prince. However, Cinderella's 2 guardian doves told the prince of their treachery, so he left to find the real Cinderella. Once the prince found Cinderella and they became married, the 2 stepsisters then tried to befriend Cinderella. After seeing this, the doves then pecked the eyes out of the stepsisters. This blinded them for life and then left Cinderella to live out the rest of her life without a cruel family.
Guys, that is
satisfying
weird.
enough for a bear, clean enough to be naked. Bare
Cinderella?
naked. Feed your bear.
This is
Now,
the shocking truth about Despicable Me. These may seem like friendly yellow minions, but they're not what you think they are. The truth is, these minions are actually based off of the Nazi experiment in 1944. These crazy German scientists actually manipulated Jewish children and turned them into slaves. These heavy metal masks will be forced onto children so they cannot speak properly. And the masks were so heavy that they'll stunt the children's growth. Like and follow for more content.
I am about to ruin everyone's childhood. Pretty much everybody's watched The Lion King and everyone's favourite character is Simba. Well, The Lion King was brought out in 1994, meaning it's been released for about 26 years. But the average lifespan for a lion is 10 to 14 years in the wild, meaning that everyone's favourite character Simba is dead. And he's been dead for about a decade. Share this video to ruin someone's day.
TV show conspiracies that will ruin your childhood. The characters in SpongeBob are not just fish that can talk. They're actually creatures that have mutated due to nuclear bomb testing. From 1946 to 1958, America did nuclear bomb testing in Bikini Atoll, which is where Bikini Bottom is located. Every explosion in SpongeBob is the same exact shape as the real-life explosions America performed. The Flintstones and Jetsons actually live in the same exact year. They live in a post-apocalyptic world after a nuclear war hundreds of years before. After the nuclear bomb
bombs. The rich part of society, like the Jetsons, built cities in the air. The poor part of society was forced to stay on the ground, which includes the Flintstones, until radioactive levels go back down. This is why the Flintstones celebrate Christmas, even though the birth of Jesus Christ happened after the Stone Age. Also, the talking dinosaurs are just mutated animals.
I'm gonna ruin your childhood, part 60. So we all know Toad, right? This little cute guy right here. Well, this might blow your mind. Toad isn't actually a mushroom. That's right, it's just a hat. My whole childhood is a lie. You guys know this really creepy ass girl from the movie The Ring?
Yes.
You know, the creepy girl that crawls out of TVs and stuff?
Yes.
Well, the actress that played this creepy girl is the same girl that voices Lilo from Lilo and Stitch. I bet you didn't expect that one. We all remember Sid from Toy Story, right? The bully? Well, in one scene when it shows his toys, the one in the middle looks a little strange. That toy represents a hooker, you know, in reference to like adult hookers. Pretty cool.
No.
Guys, I just discovered what the Krabby Patty secret formula is. Now, first of all, there's only one crab in Bikini Bottom, and it's Mr. Krabs. Now, this is where it gets scary. The restaurant he owns is called the Krusty Krab. Now, if you look up a crab trap, it looks just like the Krusty Krab. In conclusion, Mr. Krabs is a cannibal. He's killing all the crabs and putting them in his burgers. Boycott the Krusty Krab!
I'm gonna ruin your childhood. Have you ever wondered why Candace's mom can't see the amazing things that Phineas and Ferb do? Well, it's because Phineas died tragically when he was younger, and Ferb was born with a disability. Candace couldn't cope with it and became mentally ill. Candace built an imaginary world where Phineas was still alive and the brothers did amazing things together. Dr. Doofenshmirtz is her psychologist who is trying to get her back to normal. The last episode where the two brothers go to college symbolizes her younger brother's death and her ability to move on with her life. I'm sorry, guys.
I'm gonna ruin your childhood memories, part 13. Do you ever wonder what happened to Scar at the end of The Lion King? Well, Scar was actually turned into Hercules' rug, which he used to show off to other people. Talk about karma. Do you remember this scene from The Lion King? Well, this is when Simba and Nala had their baby lion cub. What makes this extra creepy is Timon and Pumbaa watched the entire thing happen, and then they sang a song about it.
I'm gonna ruin your childhood. In the movie Wreck-It Ralph, Calhoun's husband gets eaten alive by the Cybug. And if you didn't already know, Cybugs transform into whatever they eat. Which only means, after Calhoun's husband gets eaten alive by the Cybug, she had to kill some form of him on her wedding day. Sorry, guys.
And now it's time to ruin your childhood. Today's story is the story of Mulan. And unlike my other stories, I don't think this will ruin your childhood. I think it'll make it even better. According to many Chinese stories, Mulan was actually a real person. Mulan was simply washing clothes in her village when she overheard the army was recruiting men from every family. Mulan knew her dad was too old to fight, so she decided to masquerade as a man and take his place. Here's where the real story is different from the movie. Contrary to the movie, Mulan already knew how to fight before going into the war. Much like the ancient Greeks in Sparta, some parts of China believed that the women should know how to fight too. So she left her family and went to fight in the war for a few years. It is there she met a young army captain named Jin Young, who the movie portrayed as Shang. Here's the catch though. Jin Young actually found out that Mulan was a woman very quickly, and furthermore, he didn't care. They grew romantically involved, and Mulan eventually rose to the rank of general through the years. Eventually, Mulan revealed her gender to the rest of the soldiers as well. Guess what? They also didn't care. They actually respected her. You go, Glenn
Curious.
Coco.
3, 2, 1, go.
This is the terrifying truth about Thomas the Tank Engine. Have you ever wondered why the trains could talk and have their own emotions? That's because they're robots created by the Fat Controller. Believe it or not, the Fat Controller was actually a tyrannical dictator. He actually treated the trains even worse than slaves. If the trains didn't follow his orders, then they'll be buried alive behind bricks. If that didn't work, then they'll be reprogrammed and brainwashed.
I'm about to ruin everybody's childhood. The nursery rhyme, The Three Little Piggies. In the nursery rhyme, it says this little piggy went to market, and I always thought that it meant he just went shopping. But that's not what it means. When a pig goes to market, it means it actually goes to get slaughtered. It gets killed. So that little piggy probably got made into a sausage or something. Poor little...
Bacon.
Better sleep means a better you. Mattress Firm's Rest Assured Promise guarantees you'll find your perfect bed from America's best brands, like the Tempur-Breeze collection. Now with a $300 instant gift, good towards sleep accessories. Only at Mattress Firm.
What if I told you that all of the Rugrats were actually dead? That's right, they were all made up in Angelica's head. Angelica suffers from schizophrenia. What really happened was Chucky and his mom died during childbirth, which would explain why Chaz is a nervous wreck all the time. Tommy was the stillborn, so Stu stays in the basement making toys for the son that he never had. The DeVilles had an abortion, which confused Angelica, and she couldn't figure out the gender of the baby, so she created twins. You may be thinking that Angelica had a friend that could also see them, but Susie's always been such a good friend to Angelica and play along with her disillusions.
This video will ruin your childhood. Everybody's played Hangman in school, right? Well, Hangman's got a very dark meaning behind it. The aim of the game is to try and find a word before the man gets hung, and you draw out each individual piece until you find the right word. Well, the dark secret meaning behind this is that it only takes one word to end a life. Share this with your friends to spread the word.
Now let's go celebrate with a nice family dinner. Dibs on sitting next to Jesse. And maybe after dinner we can... Forget it, Freckles.
And now it's time to ruin your childhood. This is the story of The Little Mermaid. The Little Mermaid is a story about the youngest daughter of the King of the Sea who has aspirations of seeing the surface world. So on her 15th birthday, she swims to the surface and sees a boat. On board that boat is a handsome prince. But the prince's boat gets caught in a storm and she has to swim into safety to save his life. All the prince remembers from that night is that a beautiful woman saved his life, but he has no idea who she is. And it's then the Little Mermaid realizes she's in love. She realizes the only way she could be with the prince is if she becomes a human. So she visits a sea witch who gives her legs in exchange for her voice. So the sea witch takes her voice by cutting off her tongue. And every step she takes on land as a human feels like swords are being driven into her feet. The prince finds her and grows quite fond of her, but not in the way she had hoped. All the prince could think about was the woman who saved him that night, and with no voice, she could not tell him that it was her. He eventually found love with another woman and broke the Little Mermaid's heart. She had the option of becoming a mermaid again if she took a knife from the sea witch and stabbed the prince. She refused, and with nothing to live for but still being human, she took her own life by throwing herself into the sea.
Yep, you're gonna hate me after this one, because I'm about to ruin part of your childhood. Part 1. Oh yeah, fucking classic that. The Flintstones set in the past, right? Wrong! What if I told you it's actually possibly set in the future? Not just any future, a post-apocalyptic future. Now hear me out. In 1987, there was a movie crossover between the Jetsons and the Flintstones. Jetsons made a time traveling machine to go to the future, but rather it malfunctioned and they thought went to the past. But what if it didn't malfunction at all, and it actually did indeed take them to the future? A post-apocalyptic future. It said hundreds of years before the Flintstones, a nuclear war happened which sent the human race back into the Stone Age. Mildly fucking inconvenient, that, my boy. And the radioactive fallout over time made the animals look like dinosaurs again. Or some shit, I don't know. I'm just saying. Also, this aired in the 1960s. Now, if you know your history, you know what was going on around that time. So it's not too crazy to think it was based off of that. Alright, now a couple smaller ones. The original costume for the Cowardly Lion and the Wizard of Oz was made of real lion. Ugh. That's shit. Peter! This one hurts me. 11 episodes of Looney Tunes can never be aired because of highly offensive material.
Big news. Oh, please tell us you're not having another baby. No, you're not having another baby. And I can assure you we will not be making that announcement ever again. Yeah, this family is big enough. Hey, you completely clear on that, Dad?
Why are you pointing your finger at me? Having babies is a team effort.
What do you mean? This should be good.
You know what? Getting back to that big announcement, we're going on a family vacation!
And now it's time to ruin your childhood. This is the real story of Tangled, or Rapunzel. Let me start by saying Rapunzel's parents were not royalty, they were peasants. Her parents lived next door to a witch's garden where the wife asked the husband to go fetch her some Rapunzel, which is basically cabbage. The husband gets caught by the witch, and in exchange for the Rapunzel, she asks for his firstborn child. So the witch takes the child, appropriately named Rapunzel, locks her in a tower, and raises her as her own. The only way in is by a window at the very top of the tower, which can only be reached by climbing her hair. A prince comes through the forest one day, sees the witch climbing her hair, hears a beautiful singing voice up top, and he's curious. He climbs up and finds Rapunzel, and they instantly fall in love. The witch found out very quickly because Rapunzel got pregnant, because they got busy! The witch cut her hair, disowned her, and sent her to the forest to fend for herself. The prince returned only to find the witch, and she said he'll never see Rapunzel again. So the prince tried to kill himself by jumping off the tower. He didn't die, but he was blinded by landing on thorns. Being blind...
What did they say? They got
If
you don't want some of your childhood ruined, I would stop watching this video.
I'm gonna ruin your childhood, part 30. The trolls in the movie Frozen actually hypnotized Hans, so he could hate Anna and be that really mean guy he was in the movie. Because let's be honest, who actually is that bad of a person? And the reason the trolls actually hypnotized Hans and made him act the way he did was so that Anna and Kristoff could eventually end up falling in love. I guess it was meant to be. Pretty cool!
Let's get down to business. Let's get down, let's get down.
I gotta see y'all guys later. Bye.